So I've had my Rev 9s installed for about a week, and they've been riding great. I have the damper all the way up because that's where I get least rubbing, because I got huge wheels on this thing, which I'll show you. All right, so I'm still having issues finding this clunking noise. We're gonna jack it up, get just a little bit of weight off the car, and then see if we can get something under the tire, like a crowbar or something, and just see if we can get it to rattle. I'm wondering if it's the pillow ball that meets at the hat and the strut. So maybe that pillow ball's bad, or I don't know. I don't know. It could be. All right, we got this crowbar under here. I just can't get it to make any noise. And we're just gonna drop the jack. Not drop it, but let it down. Okay, we're almost at the end of the road where I have to take these back out to see if there's something wrong down here, because I can't just tighten this nut up because of this collar. There's like 4 little Allens right here, and it holds this like centering guide in. So even if you loosen the damper all the way up and take this out, which usually comes out, it's just not doing. Oh, there it is. You still can't get the socket in here, which is quite annoying. So I can't really check if these are tight without tearing the whole thing apart. Alright, so maybe the sway bar end is making connection somewhere. Alright. Gotta make the old man noises. No. So we get this set up on a wood block here. That way it's kind of putting this into a bind, you know. So I want to see if the sway bar's hitting, and it's not even close at all. So that's just that guard that's broken, and see if anything's hitting. We're on the driver's side here. I'm gonna check the sway bar on this one. So on that sway bar, if you've seen you probably weren't paying attention close enough, but on the passenger side, there's a little silver shim. And on the driver's side, there's not one. This is a guide that goes in the sway bar. On the link, it goes into the sway bar, so it doesn't go click, 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 click. And I'm wondering, even though that nut's tight, if the end link isn't going click, 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 click. So we're gonna pull this wheel off, probably, because this car's heavy. Like, this car's really heavy. My jack doesn't want to pick the whole front of it up. So I think we're just gonna pull the wheel and get it out of the way. All right, let's see what we need to get in here. It's not that tight. Alright, I got it loosened up, and it seems like it'll come out without popping. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off, and yeah, there's some slack there. Ain't worried about losing no fingers right yet. Okay. check that out. It looks like it's been moving, but... Alright, so I know this isn't like too... Wow, that was in there pretty good. This hole is definitely bigger than here. And you can tell it looks like it's been rubbing a little bit, but... That noise is kind of familiar, and I think that's what it is. So this piece right here, I found on the ground after I was done putting it together, and it took me a couple days to realize. Yeah, I kind of found it like that. So I'm pretty sure it just goes in just like that. And then this goes in there like that. And then I just gotta get that bend down. So, hell yeah, I got the bolt in there. Now we can tighten it up. Hell yeah, that was pretty painless. I'm just gonna finish tightening this up. Does that have one? That one does have one. Hopefully that fixes it. Woo! I'm gonna get this thing thrown back together, and we might go drive it. All right, so everything looks good up there. No knocking, no clanking, nothing like that. So, really hoping this was the issue, and that the stud in here was just clanking every time the sway bar moved, especially at slow speeds when the wheels are juggling. I'm hoping this was just clanking in here, and that that little metal bushing is going to stop the noise. So this little light's super great. I bought it when I was working in tanks on vessels, and I had to go on my hard hat like that so I could see around in these super dark voids. And I'll get it dropped down and let's go for a ride in the car. This thing pulls so good for a Sonata. Like, for a little four-cylinder, it's got power, surprisingly. I mean, it's not like turbo power or anything, but it's pretty quick. So I thought the coilovers were going to be bad, and because they're on the cheaper end, I just assumed, because I've had high dollar ones just break on me. So, I mean, I know BC is not the top of the line, but they're pretty expensive. It's like a $1,300 set, and for them to just shear off of hitting a small bump, I assumed that it was going to be like just, you know, cheap parts, or like the pillow balls were just gonna be making that noise for the rest of their life or something like that, or until I pulled them apart and greased them. But no, it was just that one teeny tiny little bushing was making all that noise. Honestly, for the money these coilovers are, I think they're like around $500 for the set, and it comes with the adjustable sway bar link ends. These ride really good if you get them set up right. I know it's got a little, I have a little harshness in this because I have it set up that way. I have the dampening all the way hard, just because when I hit bumps, it's less likely to rub. So It could be more comfortable. Don't get me wrong. It could be more comfortable, but it is still a very comfortable ride. The car is kind of heavy, so you have to have a little preload set into it. But as far as a budget coilover, I'm really happy with these. They definitely ride better than the max speeding rods I have in the Civic. Those do good for that car. It's a little bitty light car, but I wouldn't want to put those on this car. This car's a lot heavier. And as far as the quality of the Rev 9's Street, like the Street package, they're definitely like a nicer quality. They look nicer. They look better. They feel better. Just feel like I put a little bit more love into them, and probably a little bit nicer materials. So that's probably why. But I'm hitting some pretty good bumps right now, and besides just the little judder from the camera mount, which sucks, it's doing really good. I'm really enjoying them now that I got rid of that sway bar noise. It really sounded like it was going to be pillow balls, and it sounded like it was on both sides, but I guess it does make sense that it would make noise on both sides because it's connected and loose at the same time. So both sides are going to affect the noise. So that's why I thought it was just pillow balls on both sides, because this wheel would go up and make a noise, this wheel would go up and make a noise, or, you know, independently. But I wouldn't do it on the highway, so I wanted to figure out what it was. And thankfully, through some diagnostics and some looking, I figured it out. And I get to enjoy this car again. Because I know sometimes, like, especially on a budget, you can take a car and mod it, and then it's like, oh, this is the biggest piece of crap now, because it, you know, it like rides terrible or makes a lot of noise where it didn't make before on stock parts, but it looks better now, and you know, it's hard to go back to stock stuff like stock height, stock wheels, and stuff like that. So, oh well, it is what it is. But things running and driving great, feels good. I might take it for another little rip on the way home. Won't go too hard because I got some groceries with me. Technically, it's only 35. Recommended. Yeah, this car feels so good. There's such a big, heavy car. Oh, there's a rep. Such a big, heavy car. impressive for what it is. I mean, compared to, like, say, a stock 2013 Civic or something, shit, like base model to base model, this thing would destroy it. Speed, handling, everything. Destroy it. Like, I don't know how this car has only 200 horsepower and puts down the power that it does. No, it's not a race car. If this was in a smaller car, it would probably be impressive. I mean, it'll get down and go, but it is not a race car for sure. You can definitely feel that. If you wanted to get a lot more out of it, you can put more preload into it. But for driving it every day, I don't feel like breaking my spine. It's pretty comfortable. This is like a really good setup, and the car looks pretty decent. From where this car came from, I mean, honestly, I thought a guy bought it out of a scrapyard or like an auction, like totaled. It was totaled, and we straightened it up quite a bit, and we've done a lot